This episode of the Nerfherder Council is brought to you by Audible. Get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook download by visiting audibletrial.com/NHC.
Warning, the following podcast contains irreverent humor, exceptionally nerdy opinions, potential cursing, and plenty of love for the prequels. If any of the preceding offends you, please turn off this podcast immediately, and may the Force be with you.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder!
You can't use that word! Only we can use that word!
Anakin Skywalker, I was expecting someone with your reputation to be a little older.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
Jedi scum.
You're tuned in to the Nerfherder Council, your source for Star Wars opinion, conversation, and debate. Featuring your hosts, JT.
You really could technically thaw out Princess Leia like a damn toaster strudel, and she'd be alive. I think I have a new intro clip.
AJ.
Chewie, crack a window. The cold air keeps me awake.
Steve.
It's a sign of any good audio podcast is visuals, right?
On this episode of the Nerfherder Council, we discuss what we feel are the most overrated characters in Star Wars. Spoiler, AJ's first one is wrong.
This is the Nerfherder Council.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT. With me are AJ and Steve. And we want to thank Galactic Empire for the awesome theme music, as usual. Don't forget, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you're listening to us on one of the Apple platforms or anywhere where you can leave us a 5-star review, please do so. It helps us jump up the search rankings, so we would greatly appreciate that. We actually do have something else to promote. AJ, why don't you tell everybody about our awesome new swag, as it were?
Yeah, new swag. That's right. We actually have a tpublic.com store. So anybody who's been pining for a Nerfherder Council shirt since we sold out of our first run, you can now go up there and get not one, but 3 brand spanking new designs. We've got various logos and whatnot up there, and we're working on more designs as we speak. So anyone who's interested in doing that, you just go to tpublic.com/user/NHC podcast. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's the best we got for right now. We'll post some links in the show notes for you. Check it out there. And by all means, support the show because we're poor. We like money.
I've been trying to get Billy Mays to promote for us, but I haven't got any replies back for some reason.
Oh, that's cold, man.
Yeah, so is he.
Oh, yeah, you beat me to it. Oh, too soon?
Oh, too soon. We are off and running. All right. Typical Nerfherder fashion, ripping dead guys. Nice job. Excellent.
No. The other one we like to rip on is still alive.
Well, that's true.
Well, one of his eyes isn't.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
I'm not backing off of this thing. I don't care.
Hashtag stand your ground. So go check out the Nerfherder Council t-shirts. They're very cool, man. I am thoroughly impressed with the designs. I mean, they're simple, but they're very effective. I like what you did, man. Good work.
I will be completely honest. I have bought one, but it hasn't arrived yet. So I'm hoping the quality is good, and I will report back as soon as I get it to let you know how it is.
Watch everybody orders. They turn out to be pieces of crap. Like, damn. Like,
this damn shirt's almost as bad as the show.
I guess that would be appropriate. So
you get what you pay for.
Yeah. So, all right. So moving on to the topic for tonight, we had somewhat of a discussion earlier in the week about Star Wars characters that we thought were overrated, because I was involved in some online discussions again, and that usually provides me inspiration for different topics and whatnot, as
I
well
like
as
how you call it discussions.
well, yeah,
Aggressive negotiation.
that's exactly what it is. I was involved in some aggressive negotiations with a keyboard. And so I kind of wanted to bring this up to you guys, because I realized that there's one character that I'll probably get crucified for calling overrated. And so remember, this is just my personal opinion, but
I just hope
It
you
did
don't
come
take
up-
mine.
I don't know. I mean, I think I know what AJ's is going to be, because we've discussed it, but mine, to start it all off, don't kill me for this, everybody listening, but if I was to say like the first overrated character that comes to mind for me, it would be Princess Leia.
Ooh.
I just never got the popularity.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I just never got the popularity of that character. Like, I mean, it was always, to me, it was like Luke and Han and Leia were this trio and everything, but Leia was just, and I understood how she stood on equal ground with them, but she was always just boring to me. It was like, all right, so you're a good guy, like you're a general, I guess. Like, okay.
I think this is privileged white male speaking.
Yeah, I know. It kind of does sound like
We're-
that. I'm not even going to lie. It's just, and it's like, that's why I said, it's like, I could see why she's equal to Han and Luke in terms of, her standing within the rebellion and all that. The character herself was just bland for me. It's just nothing about her ever grabbed until The Last Jedi.
We're all old school wrestling people. Princess Leia is like the manager.
Oh, she's Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That got insanely popular for doing nothing other than just being a manager.
Right.
She's Miss Elizabeth. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I finally got it in The Last Jedi. So there is a little bit of a caveat to that for me. But up until then, I was just like, all right, Princess Leia. She's one of the big three. Cool.
I think the big shift for Princess Leia in The Last Jedi was it was just more of Carrie Fisher showing through, though. Like she had like way more, God, I hate to say it, but like sass.
That's a very good word.
She let her own personality shine through the character a little bit more, which was a lot of what made Han Solo work in the first place.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I totally see how that played to her advantage. But yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of like that South Park episode where they wanted to redesign the flag because all the adults thought it was racist because it was 4 white stick figures hanging a black stick figure, and all the kids saw was 4 people hanging a 5th person. Like everybody was up in arms because like the kids didn't understand it because they didn't have that bigoted mindset, so they didn't understand why there was anything wrong. And the same thing, like we just saw Princess Leia, we're like, okay, why couldn't she do that? Why is it a big deal that a woman? It's just that's a character and she's doing her thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. It wasn't it wasn't the hip thing like it is now to say, oh, we need more women in Star Wars. We need more people of color. It was just, she was one of the 3 main characters kicking ass. And to me, she was just kind of boring, because Han's, it's kind of understandable when you've got Luke Skywalker who's learning the Force and chucking around a lightsaber. Like you'd never seen that. That's awesome. And Han Solo had the Millennium Falcon and this giant Wookiee with him. And he was just like this cocky son of a bitch. And then you've got Princess Leia, who's just really good and just very powerful general. Like, all right, well, I've seen that before, but the other things you hadn't seen. So to me, as a kid, I was like, whatever. It was
like she was cool, but you were just like, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That's exactly what it was. And I have nothing against the character. I don't dislike the character. And as I said, a minute ago, and also on the show previously, I loved what she did in episode 8. It's one of my all-time favorite parts of that movie.
Carrie Poppins.
Well, okay, that sucked, but
like you get the good with the bad.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I still watch the original trilogy. I'm like, all right, cool. All right. I just never got it.
She got shot by a stormtrooper. Who does that?
But she did feed crackers to Ewoks.
True.
They made her a dress.
That's true.
See?
Well, you got to give them that. If you could feed crackers to cannibal little bears that live.
Well, that was, come on, man. That was a Nature Valley oats and honey. You know it was.
Exactly.
Who doesn't sit down for a little set on a log if you're going to get a free granola bar out of it? I love those things. Someone's going to offer me a free granola bar. I'll be their friend.
I have to admit, I love those too.
Mm-hmm.
And the good old standby, the oats and honey, always a winner.
Yeah.
Always a winner.
Well, it works on Endor because the wrapper's green, so it camouflages.
True.
You bust out the cinnamon one, you're dead.
Right.
Let's say, so as long as you're eating the oats one, you could get away with littering on Endor.
I don't know. I will have to say
there's no crying Indian Ewok standing somewhere with the litter in front of him.
Right. I don't know. I will have to say whatever that maple flavor is or whatever, I do prefer that one more. But it's hard to find. It's like maple or brown sugar or something. Maple, brown sugar. I don't know.
I think that's it.
Well, whatever it is, I almost never
that's
have
the color of dirt. That would also work on Endor. That is also approved Endor gear.
It would.
And as the show takes a turn into a snack-based podcast,
we're going for a sponsorship. So
brought to you by Nature Valley.
Yeah.
It is the official granola bar of the PGA Tour.
Yeah. See, and I love to golf. So there you go. That works for me.
Well, we got this lined up. Somebody send a tweet.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I never really thought about it, but we had the discussion about Solo, and I find Kira more compelling. So if I had to, pick which of Han's love interests to get into, it's not going to be Leia.
Yeah.
And same thing. I always thought Leia was just kind of bland.
Yeah.
She did stuff, but if she didn't, oh well.
Right. And, even, you can compare her, to her quote unquote mother, to Padme, and Padme does way more stuff in the prequels than Leia does in the original trilogy, really. I mean, she's in more battles and things like that. She goes undercover and all this kind of crap. And, it was just cooler. It was like, okay, this is interesting.
She got choked more too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's not revisit that because that was she could have done a better job of selling that, I think.
Now that's the wrestling fan coming out in you.
There's another speaking of overrated, Natalie Portman's being force choked.
Man, you can
do better than that.
She can't take a bump at all. She needs to look at Miss Elizabeth from WrestleMania 4. No, that was actually Saturday night's main event? Was that now we're going old school wrestling.
Are you talking about where the Mega Powers exploded?
Yeah, it was a Saturday night's main event where Miss Elizabeth got bumped by something and knocked down. So Hogan left the tag match to take her to the back.
Yep, that was it. Saturday night's main event.
She should have sold that choke like The Rock sold every Stone Cold Stunner.
Totally. Instead, Natalie Portman did it the way that Vince McMahon sold the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yes.
Man, we are all over the place with references tonight.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, but all right.
Again, you get what you pay for, and you're not paying for the podcast, so you're welcome.
As long as we're firing at the big names, then I got to say Boba Fett.
Oh, I so disagree with you on this.
I'm sorry. He was good until they gave us more of him. I don't get it. What is cool about knowing more and more about the guy who was cool because you knew nothing about him?
I don't think that's why he was cool.
He did nothing to earn his mystique. He looked cool, and that was it. And that was enough, because then your mind could just go in a million different directions. Be like, he could have done this, and he could have done this. I mean, look at that missile on his back. He's hunting people down with a missile. That's so cool.
Right.
And what did we get? We got a whiny clone, and then a so-so bounty hunter in his teens, and then a little gap where allegedly Cad Bane trained him up. I mean, nothing that they've explained about him in the prequels or the Clone Wars made him cooler.
Well, maybe they'll do that in the Boba Fett standalone film.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I will always disagree with you on Boba Fett just because he just looks so cool, and he has that mystique.
If you're talking Boba Fett circa 1983, yes. If you're talking Boba Fett circa 2018, no.
Dude, he outsmarted Han Solo. I mean, come on. Even as a little kid, when I first saw Empire and he walks in, I was like, how the hell did he do that? That's Han Solo. This guy's smarter than Han Solo. That blew my 4-year-old mind.
I want to know who that bounty hunter was on Ord Mantell then. because that really scared Han Solo pretty bad too.
That was explained somewhere? I thought. I'm almost positive it was.
Yeah, it was in that book with the Battle of Taneb.
No, I'm being serious. I thought they explained it.
It's probably in a comic somewhere. It's probably been pinned down now.
It's that in that book, Scoundrels or whatever?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it's somewhere. I'm almost positive.
Crap.
Someone feel free, if you're listening to this episode, to direct us to where they explain who or what the bounty hunter on Ord Mantell was.
Now you're making me feel bad because I know I've read Scoundrels and I enjoyed it, but I can't for the life of me remember a damn thing about it now.
Well, speaking of overrated, some of the novels. Well, we've
We're
been
looking
on
at
record.
you, Chuck Wendig.
Yeah, we've been on record as saying that, I don't enjoy some of them. Some of the stories just don't really need to be told. There's like too much stuff. It's like the novelizations of the movies. There's something overrated.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Why?
It's the Solo novelization. And that one had so many rewrites and weird. It's like the Rogue One novelization where you get all these like alternate things or deleted scenes that didn't appear in the movie. So it's actually like a different way to get the same story.
Yeah, but every time I've tried to listen to one of those, there's 8,000 adjectives per sentence. And they just over explain the tiniest thing just to fill up pages.
I think you're really going on about the episode 7 novelization. That thing was really bad about that. And that was Alan Dean Foster, I think.
Episode 3 was like that. I tried episode 1 there. They've all been the same. And people go nuts for it. I don't get it. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the episode 3 one, I mean, Steve, they talk about, episode 3 opens up and it's just, the Battle of Coruscant.
Right.
And it shows them flying. They've got all this exposition about how Anakin and Obi-Wan were on TV and they're intergalactic celebrities because of how much ass they kick. And, they did this and they did it. It just goes on and on and on and on. I'm like, they're flying over a planet. Enough. I mean, it was just stupid. I'm like, what is this? I mean, and does anybody really need a damn book anyway?
This is
Seriously.
why we need to get somebody involved with the writing process on the show to answer these questions.
Yeah, I would love to know.
I've got theories on how this happens, but I want to hear it directly.
I don't even understand why a novelization
the writers
is
get
needed.
paid per word, so they're just knocking it out.
There's a page count to fill for sure.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I've never even understood why novelizations are needed. I mean, if you see the movie, if someone's interested enough to read the book, they're obviously going to see the damn movie. So why write a book?
Because some people need to have that little extra bit more of what the hell's going on, because the movies just aren't good enough.
There's also a comic adaptation. It's just what they do. It's fine.
More power to them. I just don't see the point. There's the movie. That's canon. It's all canon, but
it all depends on just how you like to consume it. Hey, I'm a super nerd. I'm proud of the fact that I have the 6-issue comic adaptation of Return of the Jedi.
My sneeze is now canon too on our show.
Nice. So yeah, I've got 6 issues of Return of the Jedi. I've seen the movie. I love the movie. That's why I thought it was cool to get the comics.
Well, like I say, I'm not saying they're not cool. To me, they're not. And to me, they don't serve a purpose. But I mean, there's a market for them and people enjoy it. So to each their own. For me, and again, after, I've tried 3 of the 8 books. And enough is enough. I
will cap it off with this, and then we'll get on to Steve's first overrated character, because we're supposed to be talking about that. But
yes,
there are moments in the movies that get glossed over. It's really cool to get an expanded version of that. Like episode 8, there's a lot of stuff where it's like an internal thought process of the character in a moment that goes by in an instant in the movie.
I just wonder how I would feel about that, because I know that, like, for example, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and so many of the books are really good and they try and adapt them into a film and they miss a lot of stuff. Like an example is Dreamcatcher. Like, I really like that book, but like half of it or more takes place in the guy's head because he gets possessed by an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get that across accurately on the screen, so it looks kind of dumb. So
I remember like there was a section of that movie, like somewhere in between the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, that the whole thing was just like, what the hell am I watching right now?
I mean, it makes total sense in the book, and it's really cool, like, because the alien will go into somebody else's body. Like this truck driver, he wants to take the guy's truck, so he ends up having the guy kill himself by taking a pen and just ramming it into his own eye till it goes into his brain. Like, that's cool, but you can't accurately show why it's happening or how it's happening in a cool way in a movie. So, the stuff with, to kind of reverse engineer that,
taking a small thing in The Last Jedi and making it huge. That just doesn't appeal to me. It just seems, you know what? It comes across as trying too hard. It comes across as overrated as a concept. Steve, what's overrated to you as a concept or a character?
Your segues?
Exactly. I am not a professional. You get what you pay for.
Honestly, I can't sit there and think of an overrated thing as we're trying to.
You've had 15 minutes. Come on.
So unpopular opinion, Luke.
I was gonna. I would. That would have been my guess for you.
Of course, you're a Vader lover.
Not even that. It's just you go back and you look at the original trilogy, and he did cool things. At the same time, it's just constant whining and complaining and bitching and moaning, and I can't get past that. So I can't say this is like me saying he's overrated. But at the same, I can't get past. I want to go to Tashi Station, and I can't lift the rocks, and I can't move that. That's impossible.
Always with you, it cannot be done.
Right. It's like, and I can't.
Even Yoda was sick of him.
Yeah, I've never been able to actually get past that. It's not that I'm just like a Vader lover and stuff. It's just I've never gotten past the whininess of Luke Skywalker for some reason. I think that's why I didn't really mind his character in episode 8. I'm like, he's finally not bitching about things, you know, like he's just a curmudgeon now, and like now it makes
everything
sense.
Sucks.
Yeah, now it just makes sense that he thinks the world sucks, you know. But like,
get off my lawn.
In episode 5, when he's getting trained to be a Jedi, and he's just the whole time, and Yoda's just like, you could see it in his eyes that he wanted to ram a lightsaber through his skull, right? It's just like I never got past that with him as a character. So like I got nothing past that, but yeah, I mean, if I had to come up with anything, I would say Luke right now, just because of that.
I kind of agree, but for different reasons. Like he was always, everyone's opinion of him is he's the greatest Jedi ever, and it's probably just because of the hype of the prequels and the digital effects. But we never saw Luke do anything compared to what the prequel Jedi were doing. So like I never. Even in Return of the Jedi, he was the biggest badass there was, which was cool.
Yeah.
And that's like prime Luke Skywalker for me. I love his entrance into Jabba's palace where he's just like, I was actually thinking about this earlier today. Like, you're right. He just gets his ass kicked from one side of Cloud City to the other by Vader. And then the next time you see him, he's like, screw you. I'm going to choke you out and walk past you. Like he's taking no from anybody.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like I was really hooked by Luke in Return of the Jedi after hating him in Empire Strikes Back, because I was like, man, he really got his ass handed to him. But I never thought of him as like the greatest Jedi ever, especially because we heard the legends of Anakin Skywalker and then saw what Anakin could do in the prequels. I'm like, how is Luke the greatest one ever? Like, he didn't do half the crap that his dad did.
See, I always thought the same thing, but then when you see that he actually defeats Anakin, basically defeats Vader at the end of Jedi, and then you're kind of like, okay, well, I guess so. But I kind of agree with you, because
he defeats him through philosophy, not really through skill.
Well, he defeats him through anger. I mean, he almost goes to the damn dark side to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, so, I mean, I pretty much.
His ultimate victory was in turning his father back to the light side from the dark.
Yeah.
Which was not a skill thing at all. That was an empathy thing.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much agree with you, because I was always like, why is this guy the greatest Jedi ever? And we see what Yoda can do and Anakin.
I always assumed because he was the only Jedi.
Yeah, I did too. Right. I did too.
Once Obi-Wan and Yoda are out of the picture, like, well, he's the best, he's the worst, he's the tallest, he's the shortest, he's the oldest, he's the youngest.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, you know, like I said, I've said this before, that one of the coolest things about The Last Jedi to me was that finally we see Luke actually doing something that justifies his status to most Star Wars fans as the greatest Jedi. Like, he does the most Jedi thing ever. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's okay. That now I can buy into this. You know, I mean, and that's you know, sidebar, but I mean, that's one of the things I love about The Last Jedi, is that it takes the Luke and Leia character to places where everyone always just placed them by proxy. Now it seems like they earned it. You know what I mean? So I like that.
Yeah, I might be
it's
the
a bit
worst.
of retcon right there, actually.
Yeah,
that's making the movie characters do what the fans wanted them to.
Yeah,
I might be the worst Star Wars fan ever, but like, everybody complains about the Force projection in Episode 8, and
See,
honestly, like, that's probably the coolest thing I feel Luke ever did, dude. Like, I enjoyed that part of the movie with the shoulder brush off thing and making Kylo just revert back to his like 2-year-old whiny child self. Where
yeah.
The only thing that would have made it better is if Luke would have said, "You sound like me on Dagobah."
right?
like that would have made it so much better. But like everybody hates on that whole thing, and I'm just like, that's the coolest thing he's probably ever done.
Anytime you invent a force power, now you can be spoken of as one of the greatest Jedi ever.
Right.
Yeah, apparently.
It'd be awesome if, like you said, like he goes, this is what I was like on Dagobah. Like you see him and Kylo Ren's like hollering at him and he stops and he looks up in the air, Luke, and he goes, is this really? Is this what I sounded like on Dagobah? And you hear,
exactly.
You hear Yoda's voice go, ask me, please don't. Like
in episode 9, when Kylo's throwing a temper tantrum, you just see the Force ghosts of Luke and Yoda, and he's just like, is this what I was like?
Yeah. And Obi-Wan pops in, he's like, oh, I'm going over here. But yeah,
And you got Anakin and Obi-Wan on the other side of the room, and Anakin's like, well, at least I was never that way. And that's when Obi-Wan just starts to see himself out.
Right. I'm out of here. This conversation is over. Yeah. And in a very simplistic way, when I was a kid, all of my friends were Luke Skywalker fans, and I always thought Luke was just overrated because I'm like, how?
I mean, you were supposed to, though. He was the good guy.
Yeah, but I never understood how anybody could like
that guy.
I just never understood how anybody could like Luke Skywalker more than Han Solo. I'm like, Han Solo is so effing cool. Like, how could you not love that guy? Like, I to this day I don't understand. Like, I watch it and it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because my favorite Marvel character is Captain America, and he's basically Luke Skywalker, just the pristine, squeaky clean, uber good guy. So I guess I'm not one to talk, but
I'm a Tony Stark guy, so I'm the Han Solo dude.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean that's my second favorite one. So I mean, I guess I get it, but as a kid, I just could never understand how Han Solo wasn't like everyone's cat's meow. It was like, but he's so cool. I mean, look at the Millennium Falcon. Luke Skywalker has this stupid little dumbass speeder, and Han Solo has this badass like saucer shaped weird thing that just
he's got a stupid
everybody.
Wet airplane and a garbage can droid, and Han Solo has the Falcon.
Yeah, honestly, like come on, how nothing's cooler than that.
Though I will never badmouth the garbage can droid, though R2 is the best.
So. Well, that's true. That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah,
we could have just made this show about overrated Jedi. Because I'm going to make this one real short.
Because we would have just talked about Luke the entire time.
Right. Well, I'm going to make this real short so we can just get past it because I don't think there's a lot of disagreement that would lead to interesting conversation. Ezra Bridger.
Oh, man. That's a...
Well, you said overrated Jedi. Can we even consider him one?
Well, hey, we said overrated. No, we said overrated characters. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot. Yeah. What? How?
Well, I couldn't bring that up because I didn't watch Rebels to know that.
Well, we'll do it for you. And trust me, if you ever get through the whole thing, I think you'll agree. I do not understand why people like that character. That is just like, and for the
lightsaber is a blaster too. That's why.
Give me a break.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Like,
I hate that. I'm sorry.
The weirdest thing to me is people are like, "Oh, I love the character of Ezra," but I've seen people that complain about the whininess of Luke and Anakin, saying how they love Ezra. I'm like, that's all he does. That is all that little Nimrod does is just bitch and complain. Like, so what's the big deal?
Right. Like he spends the first 2 seasons telling Kanan how stupid he is, and then the second half of the series is all him just going, I'll do what you say, Kanan. I believe you. I'll do what you say. I've outgrown you, Kanan. And then, oh my God, Kanan, you're dead. What do I do? Oh, wait, I've got like every Jedi power ever.
Yeah.
Ezra's a Mary Sue.
You know, I am proud to say I still don't know what that means. I went to look it up one day. I was like, nope, I don't want to know.
All I know is something
terms
stupid that trolls say on the internet to refer to Rey, even though she's doing the exact same thing Luke did in the original trilogy.
A Mary Sue is an idealized and seemingly perfect fictional character. Often this character is recognized as an author insert or wish fulfillment.
Oh, give me a break. People and their stupid terminology.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree on Ezra. And if I can add another Rebels character.
I was just going to say, if you want to go overrated characters, can you just say everybody that was in Star Wars Rebels?
Not true. Not true.
Well, except for my girl. I love Ahsoka, so I'm not going to go there.
Another overrated character.
Oh, here we go.
Nah, if I had to say Ahsoka was overrated, I would say is by like a teeny bit, but I mean, she's
I don't
cool.
think she hasn't been on there enough to consider overrated to me.
Yeah.
Like,
at first, I didn't like that character at all.
Yeah, I didn't like Snips, but I like grown up Ahsoka.
I do too.
Figure.
I agree.
Take her like season 2.5 or so.
I think that's why I can't consider her overrated, because the character got better as it went on, which to me, that's a good character arc. Like, you're like, this is an annoying character, and then all of a sudden you love him, and it's like, then you can appreciate the annoying part.
The two things that really turned me around on her, first, it was when you got that little snippet that she was discovered by Plo Koon, and that's why she always had this little like connection to him.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's some good like backstory there. And the second one was that episode. I think it was in the second season.
Is it Plo Koon or Plo Koon?
Plo Koon.
I always mispronounce it. Oh well.
It's from buying Lego, man.
No, that's fine. That's why I asked.
But I think it was in the second season when Ahsoka was put in charge of like a squadron of Y-Wings or something, and she ended up getting like almost all of her pilots killed. She was just like a leader. Sorry, Steve. I'm making a lot of work for you in this episode. But
I don't think I've had one yet.
But yeah, and she was really busted up about that at the end. I was like, this is great. So she's not perfect. She's not just like coming out as a Padawan and all of a sudden able to be a better tactician than these, quote, seasoned separatist generals that she's going up against. Like, good. She kind of sucks because she isn't that seasoned yet.
Yeah.
As soon as they started like, putting in perspective that there were people out there that she couldn't yet match, I was like, okay, this is a more realistic take, and now I can get into the character a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. If I had to throw another overrated character in on Rebels, I don't see this one as much, but I've seen so many people say that, oh, the Bendu is so cool. I'm like, no. No.
Yeah.
I could not stand that character. It was just dumb. This giant rock thing that's like super strong in both sides of the force. Like, what the hell is that? Okay, as long as we're gonna go overrated, the entire show of Rebels. Like, we already spent an episode bagging on it, but
yeah, I've probably said it before, but I tried so much, and honestly, the only thing I enjoyed watching was Ahsoka and Vader. Like, everything past that 10 minutes of the one episode, I could get lost in scrolling through Twitter while that was on TV and not know a damn thing that was going on. It did nothing for me.
The episodes of that show were either great or suck. There really wasn't very many in between. It was either, man, this episode is great, or what the hell was that? That's the only two ways I ever felt about that show. And, Ezra was leading the way. And then again, when I saw the Bendu, it was just like, oh gosh.
Well, that's the problem, is when you center the show around a character that you don't get into, then you're going to end up having a show that falls flat. I mean, the whole thing's like Ezra's, progression and maturation. And if you're not into the character, then you're sitting through 4 seasons of why?
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. If you don't get connected, you knew Ezra was the guy as soon as the show started. And if you can't connect to that guy, you're just going to get annoyed at every single episode you watch. There's just no way to stay on board with it.
Yeah.
Well, as bad as Ezra was, though, I mean, there were, like you said, some were good and some were bad in Rebels. There is, at least we got one awesome character thanks to Rebels. So, not overrated, but I think underrated characters.
Whoa. What? Well, we could do another episode just based on, well, we have done overrated. Why don't we do an underrated characters show? Why don't we close up shop on this one? And then,
do we have enough people that we want to brag about? I mean, bitching is easy. We can do that for hours.
I do for sure.
Okay.
As long as I get another 15 minutes to think of something.
Just go with Vader.
I mean, you get another week, Steve. What are you talking?
Yeah. Hey, quit breaking the fourth wall over there. So, why don't we do that? Why don't we have our next episode be the underrated characters?
Underrated. Underrated.
What the hell, Steve? Where are you? Where's your clap?
I'm not committed. I'm too busy watching the little blue lines on the recording computer right now.
Oh, boy. Well, on that note, let's close up shop. Well, thanks again, everybody.
We're doing that already.
Right.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. Thanks go out to Galactic Empire for allowing us to use their awesome Jedi metal for our theme music. Don't forget, they do have a couple records out on Rise Records, so go check those out wherever you get your digital music from. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download.
When are we going to talk Thrawn Alliances, by the way? Are you done with that thing yet?
I haven't picked it back up again.
That compelling, huh? Okay.
Well, I haven't had time to really listen. The Browns are in season.
Yes, AJ.
Yeah. Well, usually I do it on my commutes, but the Browns are about to start, and I have such Browns fever now that I'm listening to every single piece of information I can. So I'm listening to sports talk radio instead of audiobooks right now.
No wonder you're so pissed off lately.
Exactly. That's why I'm starting a Browns podcast.
He's got to soak in all 5 of those wins we're going to knock out this year.
Oh!
So we are on Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, CastBox. We are now on Spotify and Google Podcasts. You can find all of our episodes on YouTube. We have our website, nerfherdercouncil.com. You can email us feedback@nerfherdercouncil.com. We have our Facebook page, and you can always interact with us on Twitter @NHC Podcast. So once again, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At tpublic/user/NHC podcast. Sorry. Oh, I thought we were doing a t-shirt thing again.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm at Dog. No, you're Dog Pound Jedi. Damn it! I'm really screwing this up.
You messed yourself up.
God, you've already used your 140 character limit.
At Drake Adams 579, tpublic.com/user/NHC podcast.
And he is Steve.
At Overrated Luke.
And we'll catch you next time.
This bucket of bolts is never gonna get us past that blockade.
This bucket's got a few surprises left in her. Plus, me and Chewie are on it. Ain't that right, Chewie?
Hell yeah, you my Nerf herder.
You my Nerf herder.